Hi there Star Wars collectors, and welcome to another Bossk's Bounty video, and welcome to my review of the Star Wars The Vintage Collection HasLab Ghost from the Ahsoka series, and of course also featured in Rebels as well. As you probably saw from the intro, the box for this thing is absolutely massive, and I tell you what, it's actually really heavy as well. I had a bit of a time trying to get it up the stairs and onto this table, but there it is in its glory. Finally it's here. We've been waiting such a long time for our ghosts to arrive, and I'm sure everybody else around the world will be receiving theirs very soon as well. This is going to be a really difficult thing to film and review, so I'll do my best for you. But there's the box. That's the front of the box anyway. You can see the ghost in all its glory with a couple of the figures down there. We've got Hera and Ahsoka. You can also see on the bottom left hand corner you've got an image of the Phantom 2 which fits onto the back. You've got the Ahsoka logo in the top left hand corner, and you have an image of the carded figures in the top right hand corner, along with the HasLab logo as well as 14+ in the little round circle there. Kenner logo at the bottom, and I've just got to say, what a glorious looking box this is. If you're an inbox collector and you're buying one of these to keep in the box, then that's fair enough. And it's going to look awesome, it really would. I would love to have the room just to display the box as well as the vehicle outside. But of course, this is a review. We're going to be opening the box. We're going to be getting all the contents out, putting it all together, and checking out the HasLab Ghost to see how great it is. I will be opening all of the figures as well, but I'm probably going to review them in separate videos, individual separate videos, because I do want to compare those figures against other releases that we have of the same character, such as Zeb, for example. They're going to be quite similar, and I think this video would just be far too long if I'm going to be reviewing the ship as well as each figure and doing the comparisons. So we'll do separate videos for those, and they'll be out over the course of the next week. Before we take a look at the other sides of the box, if you haven't enjoyed the video, hit the like button down below and subscribe if you are new. Back of the box is similar to the front of the box in terms of the image, except for the fact that they've taken all of the colour out, and this is something that Kenny used to do back in the day. Always loved that on those old style boxes, and I'm loving the fact that Hasbro have taken that forward into the Vintage Collection. You can also see the Vintage Collection logo down there in the bottom left hand corner, but I absolutely love that they do this. Real sort of nod of the head back to those Kenner days. Both ends of the box are exactly the same to each other. They both have an image of the ghost, once again in black and white. Top of the box has some images there demonstrating some of the features of the ghost, and also a lineup of some of the figures as well. And the bottom of the box also has some imagery as well. You've got a picture of the engines there, the interior, you've got the Phantom 2, and this awesome picture of the front of the ghost with the characters walking off. Bit of a shame to have such a cool image on the bottom of the box, but it is what it is. When you open the main box, this is what you're greeted with. You're greeted with what looks like 4 separate boxes, 3 of which have the Vintage Collection logo printed on the side, which looks pretty good. You've also got those handy little finger holes there to pull each one out. Each one of the internal boxes, as you can see here, this is 2 of the 4, have this amazing image of the ghost in black and white with the Vintage Collection logo on there as well. That's the sort of thing they don't really have to do, but I think it's a nice touch, seeing as it's a premium item, and they look pretty cool. Okay, so before we take a look at the ghost itself, we're going to take a look at the carded figures and how they've arrived. We're going to check the condition of them, but I will be opening up these figures in separate videos and doing comparisons against previous figures that we've had that are similar. So let's just open that up, and you can see there that we have some cardboard sitting over the bubbles. Let's just lift that up so you can see. So I'm going to remove that cardboard, and then we'll check them all out. And there they are. Now, from what I can tell, every single card is in absolutely perfect condition. So if you're a carded collector and you're just getting the ghost purely for these card backs, I can tell you mine at least have arrived in amazing condition. They are unpunched, they're on the thicker cardstock, and they look absolutely fantastic. I really do like the artwork for the cards from that mural image, and we'll just take a very quick look at each of them, because as I said, I'm going to be doing separate reviews. So there's Hera Syndulla. She's got plenty of accessories in the bubble there. Of course, it is going to be slightly different to the version that we got from the Ahsoka show. These are all based on series 4 and 5 of Rebels. And as you can see, that one is HAS003 in the line. We've got Ezra Bridger, very, very similar, this one, to the one that we did get in the main line. The costume is ever so slightly different. He comes with a loft cat, and you also get that helmet there, which is pretty cool. This one is HAS-004. We have Zeb, Garazeb Zeb Aurelius. Again, we had a deluxe version of him. His armor is ever so slightly different, but again, we're going to be comparing all these in other videos. And he is HAS-006. And then finally, Kanan with the swappable head there. And he has his like blind mask thing, which is absolutely awesome. And this guy is HAS-005. Absolutely fantastic. Cannot wait to open these. It is a bit of a shame to open them because the card backs are very, very nice indeed. But I do want all of these loose for my collection to go with the Ghost. The other figures that we have in the line are kind of like a mix match of, you know, which media they're from, but all of these are from Rebels, as you can see from the card back. And then we can add the other two that we got from the 2-pack to complete that mural image. All right, so I'm just going to go handheld very quickly just to show you how well they have packaged things within the boxes. You've got this nice sturdy insert here, which we can take out. And there you'll see the main body of the Ghost there. And I'm going to be really interested in the paint applications on this thing, because on the video that Hasbro did, it looked a little bit washed out, but I can see there is some battle damage on there and stuff like that, but we will get into that later. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get all the pieces out of the box, put them on the table, and then we'll build it. All right then, so here are all of the pieces of the Ghost out of the boxes. You can also see you get the instruction booklet as well, which is pretty cool in the Kenner style as always. We've got the cockpit there, we've got the engines, and we've got those side panels, and apparently they are lettered and numbered, so it is impossible to get the wrong ones on the wrong side and things like that. They're labeled like R1, L2, things like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it all together, and then we can check out what the Ghost looks like complete, and then we can go through all of the finer details. Alright then, so there you have it, the Ghost all built. So we can now delve into some of the finer details of the ship. First of all, we're going to take a look at the exterior of the ship, and as you can see there, it does have some battle damage on it in places, like blaster damage and things like that. And some of the areas, especially around the engines, are really nicely weathered. You can see all of that dirt and grime, for example, in the corners there, just to bring out some of that detail, which is always good. I would say overall the ship is quite clean. There is a lot of areas of just, you know, the colour plastic, the very light grey colour plastic that it is moulded in. But there are some decent battle damage there. You can see there some blaster shots, just some dirt and grime all over it in different places as we move across the ship. So you can get a good look at that. You can see some there on this edge piece here, similar to this one here, just in sort of strategic places. Now this bit here reminds me of the Falcon. In fact, the whole ship does really a little bit, doesn't it? But you can really see some of the finer details there, all the piping work and things like that. And again, that has got some kind of wash on it just to bring out some of the detail. You can just see there, pretty awesome. But I think in the main, the engines have been really, really well done. They've got this kind of green tinge to them as well. And there's the Phantom 2 with Chopper. Apparently Chopper can be removed. I'm not going to do that just yet, but you can see he's spinning around with his little arms. And then you can take the Phantom 2 out like so. And this is my main complaint about this Ghost, is that this part here hasn't been painted, and it's kind of like that same blue that they use for the interior of the Razor Crest. Maybe they could have done it the same colour as the bottom of the Phantom there, so it matches. I'm not too sure why they've done that, and they've left it as that sort of metallic blue colour. I think it probably would have looked better in, you know, that dark grey. We'll take a look at the Phantom a bit more in detail in a second. You can just see some of that sort of silver there that it has. We have this turret here with the guns that do move, and obviously that will have a turret ball that you can open up like so, and then you can get your figure in there. And I do believe that this is adjustable as well, so you can actually make it higher and lower depending on the sort of how tall the figure that you have within there. You know, whether it's Zeb or whatever, whether you've got a taller character in there, you can use that on there, which is pretty awesome. So let's just put that back on. So that like spins round, moves up and down, pretty cool. And we'll get into the cockpit in a second and we'll take a look, but I'm just going to have a look at some of this paintwork here. We've got some yellows and greys, and once again some more weathering on there that you can see. And from far away it actually looks pretty cool. The battle damage on it, not bad at all. The front of the Ghost in particular has some very nice weathering on these parts here, which is good because obviously that's where the majority of the dirt and grime is going to come from. Obviously they're flying into the dirt, if you like. And then we also have this little ramp here, enabling you to put some figures there, and I believe that does go into the back of the cockpit as well, which is pretty cool. So we'll just put that back up, and that's just going to click into place like so. Just give you a little bit of a tour, and what we'll do, we'll take off the cockpit so we can get a good look inside there before we open up the interior of the Ghost and look in the back compartment. But there you can see we've got these little joysticks here for the pilot to hold on to. They move. The chair does also swivel as well, and it goes back and forth. So plenty of room for you to be able to get the figures in there, and some of the decals on the side there, some like computer panels and things, and apparently they are screen accurate to Star Wars Rebels or Ahsoka, whichever one. Now the thing that I am a little bit disappointed about is that my seat here for one of the passengers, or one of the pilots rather, is a little bit bent. It's a little bit off center, if you like. You can just see there it's leaning to one side. It does seem to be the only one. I haven't checked it out fully to see what's going on there, but yeah, that is a little bit disappointing. Just trying to get a bit of extra light in there so you can see. Of course, this thing is very difficult to film. It is absolutely huge, but you can just see there my seat is kind of sort of bent a little bit, which is a bit of a shame, but they do swivel again, and once again you do have these little joysticks for them to hold on to as well. So looking above now, if you remove the panel, which are quite easy to remove apparently, you can just lift them off like so, and we can get a good look inside. And I will also remove the rear as well, so we can get a good look at the interior and check out all of the details. Okay, so we'll take a closer up look at inside the cockpit from this angle. You can see all the different coloured chairs there, which is screen accurate, and also all of those little computer panels on the sides. You've got that yellow ladder which does go down into that area at the front of the ship with the ramp, which is pretty cool. And there you can see the joysticks that they use to fly the ship. Not too much else going on in there. Obviously you're going to be able to get 4 characters in there. I will put some figures inside in a second so you can check that out. Into the sleeping area. So here we have the area for Ezra, I think, and these do pop off here so you can get easier access to put a figure in there. So this is the double bunk, and I'll turn the ship around in a second so we can take a look at Hera's quarters. And there we go, there's Hera's quarters there. So you can see we can take this piece off as well with the curtains on, which are pretty cool. Again, just gives you a little bit more of an easy access to put a figure in there. Once again, a little ladder up to the bunk and some other bits and pieces in there. You can see there with a bit of detail on. Just some of the paint applications there you can just see. and on that side as well. So plenty of detail, looks pretty cool. All right, so here are some of the accessories for the lounge area. You've got the sort of bench there. You've got the games board, a little chair and some stools. And also there is the chin gun, which I forgot to put on the front of the Ghost. So we'll do that as well in a bit. But all of these pieces, apart from the chessboard, are going to be loose inside here. So if you don't really want it rattling around, then I wouldn't put these in. If you're just going to display it with the sort of top off, then of course you can have those in there, no problem. But if you're going to be sort of swooshing it around, you're not going to be able to do that with all these pieces in there because they're just going to rattle around inside. But we will get them out and put them into place and, you know, see what it looks like. Before I do that, I just wanted to check out some of the details inside this area because I do like the paint applications that they've put on that flooring there, and the vents looks pretty cool. This does not remove, it does look like it's a separate piece, but it doesn't come out. You can't lift that piece out as far as I'm aware. And there you've got the seating, very much like the Falcon, and I do like the fact that they've like put some wear and tear on some of the places where people would regularly sit. You've got a little computer terminal there, not too many paint applications on that. And there you get a good view through the whole centre of the Ghost. But man, this thing is absolutely massive. It really is. Incredible. All right then, so there are the accessories set up in the back of the Ghost, and you can see I've just put a couple of figures in there. We've got Ahsoka at the computer terminal, and we've got Ezra and Chopper sitting at the game board on that sort of sofa, I guess. And there's that little table and chairs, bench with some stools, and there's that chair that you can have there. So as I said, all of those pieces except for the game board are loose inside, so all of these are going to sort of, you know, move around if you move the ship. So I probably won't be putting those in there because I'm going to have the lid on mine for the majority of the time, with the figures on the outside and in the cockpit. All right, so got a couple of figures in there now. We've got Ezra in the gunner seat, we've got Hera piloting it, and then we have Zeb in the top gunner as well. He fits in there absolutely perfect, really awesome. And here are the chin guns that I mentioned that I forgot to put on earlier. They do articulate, so we're just going to put those into where they go. They just clip in like so, so they move side to side and up and down like that. Brilliant. Right, so we've got the front piece back on now. You can see Ezra there in the gunner seat, looking pretty awesome. Obviously we've got a bit of glare, and then you can just see Hera there in the pilot seat, looking pretty awesome. And then as we go back, we can just stand up, and then if we just go swooping in now, you'll be able to see Zeb in that gunner seat, looking pretty awesome. And then we've got the Phantom 2 on the back. So that's a pretty much overview of the Ghost. As I said, very difficult to film. To apologise for any shakiness and what have you, but this thing is massive. It's as big as my table, which is just absolutely nuts. This is my filming table, and I don't really want this thing to live there because I do need this table, so I'm going to have to find somewhere to put this now. But now we've taken a look at the Ghost itself, we'll take a quick look at the Phantom, and then that'll be the end of the video. Okay then, so let's take a look at the Phantom 2 really quickly. And it's called the Phantom 2 because there is actually a Phantom in the early seasons of Rebels. There was a slightly different vehicle that attached to the back of the Ghost, and you could actually get that vehicle in the 3 3/4 inch line, the Rebels line. It's not too detailed, it's pretty basic, and apparently somebody did tell me that it does actually fit on the back of the Ghost in terms of the size of it, but it doesn't like attach. It hasn't actually got the sort of little peg holes, I guess you could call those, little slots for it to be actually secure on the back of the Ghost, unlike this one. Now you can see some pretty cool paint applications there, this nice emblem which is on both sides, and I do like the weathering on this. So we've got a little bit of weathering here, and I quite like this one coming down from these sort of electrical parts, and this whole area here has been sort of dry brushed with a silver, which is pretty good. And that is kind of what some vehicles are lacking. Now there is Chopper. Now it is an undersized Chopper because they had to make him slightly smaller to be in scale with the Phantom. And apparently it does come off. So if we can just get underneath there. I don't want to break it. There we go. So you can just see there. I'm not really too sure why you would want to take that out necessarily. It's not as if you can put anything different in there. But there you go, there's Chopper. His arms aren't articulated or anything like that. Neither's the little thing on top of his head. But it's just Chopper's head, basically. So you can sit inside or on the outside of the Phantom there, which is pretty cool. There's the back there. You've got some nice yellow lights and some more details along the top. We'll open up the cockpit in a second, but we'll just take a quick look at the landing gear. So you can see the bottom of the Phantom is, you know, unpainted grey plastic. But you've got some landing gear here which just fold in very nicely. And you need those to be folded in for it to sit within the Ghost. And then it sits into these two slots there. But we'll just open that landing gear once again so you can see, and so that we can position it on the table. So there you go. There's the Phantom. Now the cockpit area does open up like so. And I don't know if you can just see in there. There's not really too much detail in there really. A nice pilot seat. But there's no sort of paint applications on any of the sort of computer terminals or anything like that. Yeah, so not really too much going on inside there. Let's just see if we can sit a figure inside. We're going to use Ahsoka. I know she doesn't really sit in there, but we just want to try it out because she has sort of slightly bigger legs than some of the other characters. So let's just see if we are able to get her in there. No, I don't think she's going to fit in there really. So we'll try another figure. So I've grabbed Ezra because this is the guy that usually flies it. There we go. It took a bit of doing because you've got to get his feet right into the ends of the ship. But this should now close down and attach down. So that's good. So that's Ezra in there. You've got some missiles on here. They don't fire or anything. So the Ghost doesn't have any sort of real play features in terms of like firing missiles or any, you know, lights or sounds or anything like that. It's literally pretty much a huge display piece that you can set loads of figures around, put the figures in the cockpits, open up the back of it and display some more of your figures. And of course you've got this Phantom 2 to attach to the back as well, which is pretty awesome. Alright then guys, that is my review of the Star Wars The Vintage Collection HasLab Ghost from Star Wars Rebels and Ahsoka. And overall, I'm really happy with it. I think it looks great. I personally feel that it is missing a few paint applications just in terms of the overall weathering, but they have done enough in my opinion in terms of battle damage and things like that. Of course, if you're expecting the same for the underneath, then those are not there. That doesn't really bother me too much because I'm not really going to be seeing the underneath of the HasLab Ghost, but then again, it is a premium item, so many people may be expecting for those to be there. I'm pretty sure they're there on things like the Falcon and things like that, but I think they've done a pretty good job in realising the Ghost. As I said, it's absolutely massive. What a thing to have in the collection. I've just got to work out where to put it. But thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you to my Patreon supporters and channel members as always. I really appreciate the extra support, so thank you so much. And we shall see you on the next one.